Presenting Mr. Rahul Chaudhari, the CEO of Qualitia, in conversation with Deepak Vij, Senior Vice President, Newres LLC.
Good morning, Deepak, and thanks for joining us here for this podcast. It's always been a pleasure to work with you since last 4 or 5 years, and I thought it's a great opportunity that we talk to you and help all our viewers, especially the budding leadership members, to gain from your experience and learn from it. So thank you for joining.
Sure, I'll be happy to share
Great.
my insights here.
So to start with, can you just briefly introduce yourself so that everybody knows to whom we are talking to?
Yeah, sure. So I lead the software engineering, innovation, AI, and automation groups at Newres. Newres is one of the top mortgage servicer and lender in the country, the privately held. We serve about 3.5 million customers today. And in my role particularly, I focus on driving the innovation through technologies like AI, cloud, automations, RPA, those kind of things. The goal is ultimately to make the home buying experience pleasant by either streamlining the processes, automating the processes, or improve the customer experience by whatever it takes. So
Newres is growing so fast. Newres is 5th largest privately held lending organization now in the US, and I think 2nd largest in servicing.
Yeah.
So what are the typical challenges that you face while organization is growing so fast? There is a lot of demand from technology adoption perspective.
Since COVID came, COVID era brought a different set of challenges for everybody.
Yes.
So, if I talk about mortgage particularly, the demand went so high so quickly that we could not even imagine that. And it happened like literally in weeks. And then there was a time after 2 years of that heavy demand, there was a downfall on the demand.
Correct.
So all those scalability challenges that a system has to handle, which actually was definitely interesting to see. And then on top of that, late 2022, when ChatGPT came, technology also brought different set of challenges. Like everybody, like the possibilities that we could not even imagine before without, hiring a different skill set of people and all the stuff and spending months, those possibilities became true, right? So that's another thing that many organizations today also are facing challenge and taking it as an opportunity. And on top of that, during the COVID time and post-COVID time, we saw the workforce going remote.
Yes.
So, who could imagine that the world will stop one day, right? And the transition into going from office to home was easy. I think for many companies, for us, it was just literally very smooth. One Friday we were in the office and next Monday we were working from home. It was very, very, very easy transition. But coming back is not that easy. So some, are still facing the challenge of that. And I think the answer is probably the hybrid workforce, but that's another thing that we faced.
You brought up a very interesting point. See, in this change, COVID, post-COVID, the technology, demand going up, going down, every leader has managed it differently. And it all depends on the situation, kind of workforce that we have. So what has changed in your leadership style in last 3 to 4 years with so many ups and downs?
Yeah. So the change actually happened because of the environment. Because of the COVID, people went remote. Now you can't engage with your teams, your peers, your leadership in the same way you used to do before.
Correct.
Right. Everybody's working from their home and working many hours more than what they used to do before. But you don't have that collaboration that you used to have before. So the challenge was, how do you get the connection, the relationship that you had before, while also producing, even same or more. So that was actually one of the things that my leadership style actually kind of adapted to. And what I saw, empowerment is one thing that would actually give us a better output. So I kind of lean towards empowering my teams to take the ownership of the work they do, make decisions for good and drive the change. So when they started owning the pieces, they felt accountable. they felt the sense of ownership of the whole thing, and things worked out.
So, in all this change, one of the areas that would get impacted and uh, it's not so easy to control is quality. And it need more and more collaboration. So, what was your point of view during COVID, and while you are managing that change, how did you handle that challenge, particularly from quality engineering perspective?
Yeah, I mean, in this new world, the expectations have gone very high, right? And we all have been doing testing manually for so long, and we were comfortable in that. It was working, and yeah, we produced good software, and everything was nice. But in the new world, it's not going to work out.
Yes.
And there are multiple reasons for it. There is cost is definitely one of the big reasons. You want to keep the cost for whatever industry you are in. Like for us, cost per loan is a metric that we measure by. Like how many dollars do we spend to produce a loan? Right? On the servicing side, how many dollars do we spend per month to fulfill that loan? Right? So that's a metric we look at the macro level. But to keep that cost control, and especially with the inflation going on these days, you need to do something different. And test automation is one thing that I feel where many companies can take advantage of, and not just keep the cost low, but also improve better quality. Right? I mean that's the key differentiator. So what we did in this new way of doing things, we brought automation first approach. And when I say automation first, I don't mean that you always do automation for everything. You basically automation now is at the seat of the table. So when the change comes, sorry about that. When the change comes, you need to review whether that change is applicable for your test automation suite or not. If it is applicable, do it right there and there. Once you invest at that point, now you will get the payback, multiple times over that. Before, automation was the afterthought. So now it's not. It's actually in the forefront.
That's a big change.
Yeah, that's a big change.
Yes.
That's a big change. And people adapted to that, and people felt empowered to, like, it's not taking my job kind of thing. It's actually I am adding to my skill set and helping me to do more tomorrow. Right? Now that I'm free from the repetition of the whole testing over and over again, I can take other software, I can take other product, I can do other stuff as well.
So that leads to a very important question. And as you said, you were doing manual testing first, and then you transition to automation, and it's like almost automation first approach.
Yes.
And that's a great transition. But then how did you actually get into it? Because the skills were different, the mindset was different. So how could you actually make that transition?
Yeah, so I mean you can take different approaches, right? You can go to the traditional route of, there are frameworks available these days where you can write your own automation yourself. But one of the demand for that is you have to have very high skill automation engineers. Right? The same manual tester would probably not do the justification to your automation vision. Or you can invest in technologies or softwares which are available in the market these days. One of them is Qualitia, for example. That's like a low code automation tool, and you can train your existing resources in a very quick time and onboard them into automation mindset, because it's a low code, you don't have to write code for that, and you can record what you're doing on a daily basis, and you can replay that recording. So those kind of tools help you to get to that faster.
Oh, excellent.
And on top of that, because the same resource is doing the manual and the automation testing, so you don't have to have two people on the table. You have just one person who has both the interest. First, finish the sprint, finish the job, immediately automate it after. So it goes pretty nicely, like smooth transition into the automation approach.
So the motivation, as you said, mainly was to upgrade skills and
produce better quality software.
Exactly.
I mean,
so
I think
get that sense of contribution.
Yeah. I mean,
to doing more in shorter period of time.
Yeah. I mean, so we release multiple times a month, right? And lines of code are probably 20 plus million lines of code today. So testing all that stuff every time, multiple times a month, manually, it's a decent task.
Right.
So that's why we invested in that over, I would say, last like 4 or 5 years, and we have been very, very happy with what we have done.
So while this transition was happening, COVID, post-COVID, manual to automation, testing side, there was also a change in your group, in your technology stack, from technology transition perspective, from a monolithic application to more service-oriented architecture. How did this impact on the quality perspective? Because this is a massive change.
It was a holistic change of the system, right? And I mean, I'll probably put it generically for other leaders out there and the other folks who are looking for some guidance. Don't think about just API transformation as an API transformation. API is just one part of the problem. If you really want to take advantage of the full SDLC, then you focus on the full SDLC. So whatever transformation you do, it has to start from the ideation phase and finish at the the post delivery phase, not even delivery, post delivery. And in that process, API is just one component of it. So how do you do the ideation? Like, what's the platform you're going to use for it? Like, how do you bring teams together? How do you collaborate? What kind of communication pattern you'll establish over there? API is the technology. How will you build it? Keep your data security, keep your compliance at the center of it. So if you build the security in the ground, in the foundation layer of your API or your main system, then everything else becomes easier after that, because now you don't have to worry about those cutting edge problems all day long, and every team can take advantage of that foundational layer and not have to learn about security, learn about all these things. So build in that, focus on that. But then that's the software build out. Build out is just again a portion of the problem statement. You have to release the software, and that's where the automation comes. So you look at the whole DevOps, automation, and not just the API only. So invest in those CI/CDs and those test automations and other automation softwares, and train your team to leverage those from A to point Z. So they should have the vision of like why I'm doing it and what's the benefit that I get after I do it. When you have that pipeline built up, it just starts. It becomes a repetitive task every sprint, and you keep churning out the new code.
So how long was this transition time?
This was about a 2-year long transition.
Two years,
Yeah,
okay.
hundreds of engineers, and most of the code was rewritten.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was good, decent project.
So this sounds very easy after you have done it, but you have hundreds of these team members,
Yeah.
and they are at different locations across the globe.
Yes, they were offshore in India. In US, we had 4 locations where people were situated. Yeah, so it was pretty interesting.
So how did you choose the technology from test automation perspective? So you had so many challenges, like manual testers to be empowered to do automation, the API, the technology transition. There's so many things happening at the same time. So what was your criteria then, or was that also evolving, or you envisioned everything ahead of time and then chose a tool?
It was a mix of things. So I mean, I'll be honest. We did not know everything, when the project started. That's how I think things work, in general as well. Today, what I'm doing, I probably will learn more when I, put my, soul and heart into it. So we had some key criteria that we had to live by, which is one of them was, we had a bunch of quality people already working for us, and very good talent. They had industry knowledge. They had knowledge about our systems, so they knew what we do. So we didn't want to lose them. At the same time, we didn't want to invest too much into learning a new technology and training same people who are not engineers. They make them engineers. So that was actually a hard task. So that's why we decided to go for a tool that can help us to automate faster without writing too much code. And that's where Qualitia came in picture, and we reviewed many tools, and ultimately we found Qualitia the best suited for us at that time. The one of the other differentiator that I see in Qualitia is that we run multiple products through Qualitia today, and the good thing for leaders over there is I get one pane of glass which gives me the full picture of each product in the same way from a quality perspective.
Wow, that's
so
well
I don't have to
articulated.
go, learn this, learn that, or So you have a pattern that you establish, and then you repeat that pattern basically. So that's what Qualitia helped us to do.
So if you look back these 2 years or 3-4 years, what is it that you would like to correct? Where did you think we could have done better? I mean, as an entire team, and we could have delivered better results.
Yeah, I mean, there is always opportunities for to improve. There is no doubt about that. And if I have the chance to fix some things from the past 2-3 years, I would definitely put more focus on a little bit of planning efforts. And second thing is the workforce. So I will focus on bringing the collaboration between the teams more. Especially now our teams are again like I think multiple locations in US and multiple locations in India as well. So it's really a global team that's working together. So because of the time gaps, because of changing priorities sometimes, I think that's where we can do better, improve more.
So Deepak, let's move to the most interesting question, AI. Yeah. Every organization top most agenda is AI. Do you think organizations are really ready to adopt AI?
Yeah, the answer is probably maybe.
Maybe, okay.
So, I've invested a good amount of time in last 1 year in AI. So initially when the AI came, people thought it's another shiny object and it's going to be blockchain. And I was like, no, this is different. And obviously, I would say people are taking AI as a hype right now and like putting everything and every resource they have on AI, which is also I think going too far. But AI today, AI which we call generally AI, I think we're talking about Gen AI in particularly. Gen AI has tremendous opportunity in every industry and every department of the organizations. It is here to stay. It is going to make changes. Companies have to adapt to it. But one thing that I'll recommend people is do not go too fast. Pick up the couple of things that you think you can will give you value and would not require too much of investment as well. Okay. That will give you an idea of what it can do, and then you can go start big projects. So it is definitely very amazing to see what it can do.
So do you have at organization level a clearly laid down vision for AI? Is there a dedicated team, committee who is governing those policies, especially from a security point of view?
Yeah, so we do have, and we have been working on it, as I said, like for the last 1 year or so. So we have very laid out strategy for AI. We also are keeping our compliance and security folks apprised of it, and they are well aware of what we're working on, and we are not in experimental state anymore.
And what do you think it will have as an impact on testing, quality engineering perspective?
Yeah, so testing is something that we are right now exploring. So that how can Gen AI use in test automation or testing in particular is it's an interesting use case as well. Have we solved for it? No, we have not. But it's like what we have seen so far with the experimentation, the results are pretty promising. The amount of test cases it can generate is overwhelming, and I feel that we see in the output that people, like even the humans, many times misses those things, and AI can catch that. And the ability to go back into the past and look at that information and then give you the results out after that, that's like amazing. And then we're also looking at, can we use this for analyzing the results and give us the insights of now, okay, this is what happened after 2 hours of testing or automation testing or even manual testing for that matter. Give me the key points. What should I focus on? Like that's amazing as well. So it's definitely promising what it can do. We just have to invest more time into it.
Okay. And are there experiments being done in NewRaise around it? Okay. So you said AI will have an impact in the context of test coverage? because it can give you all those scenarios which it's not so intuitive to think naturally. So it will increase the coverage, and you are saying it will also help us prioritize things so that we can make, in turn, can make the go-to-market decisions faster.
Yeah, exactly.
But now, increase in the coverage also leads to more time to test, which we don't have. On one side, we are happy that we have so much as a clarity, as the coverage, then how it will impact from a timeline perspective, because you cannot not do it once you know it, right? And you want to execute all those test scenarios just to ensure that the quality is better and better, but it has a direct impact on timeline.
But that's the thing, right? So the way that I think about these Gen AI use cases, it's a co-pilot to you. It's not, deal once done and done. No, you have to have a human in the loop. Human can decide whether this AI is giving me 100 use cases or 100 test cases in this example. Do I need to leverage all 100 or use all 100? Maybe I only need 60, which are more relevant. Others are, maybe repetition or are covered in other. So when you apply that, take it as a co-pilot to you. Take it as an agent helping you to do your job better, and after that you make the final decision. So where is the balance? I know having more time for testing is actually kind of not always possible, but at the same time you have to balance out the speed of delivery and the quality of of the product. So you have to make the balance in between. So at least you have the information in front of you to make a decision, right? Before you don't even have that information. So that's an advantage. Right?
So what is happening, the way I see it, is, let's say we are using different models to generate these test scenarios and test cases. Now, for the first time, it's like so much overwhelming for me as a tester, because with the help of technology, I can think better, I can think more. But at the same time, I probably need a different training. How do you see this as a need with technology and more coverage? Because accuracy could be a concern. Again, the priority can be another concern. So do you see that there is a different kind of training now, or a skill building that is needed with AI coming in the picture for the entire quality assurance team?
So it is evolving right now. So we use the word AI. Is it in the shape and form that we ultimately we will say it's done? No, it's not for sure. So yes, there are models available today which are very good. Some are not so good. It's an experimentation, right? And you have to also see which vendor partner or cloud provider actually helps you to get to that faster. You have to pick your your bet over there as well. And then the approach that I recommend people is do not try to train all of your resources on AI. Then you are spread very thin, and everybody is struggling what's going on. So I call it centralized operations, but decentralized as well. So what you do basically, you have your core team that is well aware of the AI advancements, AI technologies, AI models, and all this stuff. So they are your service provider to other groups. So people who are leveraging those AIs, they go through that channel. So you distribute or your operations, but at the same time you centralize the AI capability. So that's how I think that's the better way of doing it, in my opinion.
So the centralized team becomes the guiding force.
Yes.
They are deciding on which AI technologies to leverage on, and in turn guiding for every team for their own use cases. Yeah. I think that is a better approach.
Yeah, and keep that centralized team it's not a rigid, here are the 5 people who work on that. No, like it's basically there is core and then there is more muscle coming into it when the need comes. So like from a test case automation use case, you need some testing mindset to be part of the AI team. So you bring in that skill set also. You augment with the core AI skill set, and then develop it, and then you go back to your the centers.
So how do you define the overall success of your QA team going forward? let's say, if you need to set the goal with whatever transition that Newraise and under your leadership you could make in last 3-4 years. Of course, we have reached to certain stage. Now, what next? How do we define the success? What could be the lead indicators?
If you really want to define success, you have to measure it first.
Yes.
So measurement is key to that. And but I would recommend folks to look at what are the KPIs that will actually make you feel comfortable about the quality. So few of the ones that I can call out here is you have the test coverage. You definitely have to have that defined. And what is your comfort level? 80%, 70%, maybe 20%, whatever that is for the need for a product. Define that very clearly. And if you're not there, you get there faster using any tool that works for you. Then when the coverage is there, how long it takes to do that. The time of execution is very, very important, as you said before as well. It's a key metric. Sometimes it actually gives you a hint about what's going on in the system. If it was taking 2 hours last month and now it takes 3 hours, well, it's working, but that doesn't mean it's working.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
You need to now look into it, what's going on, and these tools can help you to quickly identify that. So look at that metric, for example. I mean, that's just an example, And then we look at how much time are we saving ultimately. We're doing this whole automation. Awesome, very good. We should do it. Invest in it. I get it. But what's the outcome ultimately? What do you give back to your organization? Like, are we saving in the time that we spend on the quality, and where is that time going now? Are you adding more features into your product, which means so you're giving back to it? So what is the saving that you bring in? So the tool has a value, or the practice has a value to it. So the other thing that we actually measure.
Something that cannot be measured, it's not a goal. It's not. That's really nice.
You can tweak it whenever you want to tweak it.
Yeah. And having that clarity across the team, and what are the business impacts in terms of either cost, either better quality, or more features or more releases that you could get it in a year's time.
Exactly.
How frequently do you communicate this vision, this goal with your team?
So we have a vision, we have a strategy defined. So it is defined over the couple of years. So it's a very well thought process. So I would say that the process doesn't change too much. Every product, every team knows about this strategy. Yeah, there are tweaks here and there when the technology changes, when new stuff come in. I get it, but mainly the strategy remains the same. Yeah. The metrics also remain same. We are looking at one more metric right now to add to our the dashboard, and that's gonna enhance one more level of involvement. But we don't change now a lot. Yeah, we are looking at adding stuff to it instead of changing stuff to it, because I think it's established.
So Deepak, last couple of questions, and this is more for you as a leader with your experience. What is the message that you would like to give to the upcoming leadership members in your own team from quality engineering perspective?
Yeah, quality engineering or overall software engineering, I would say. One thing that I'll say, which I found actually very, very important for the teams and your co-workers, you need to have a very clear vision. Like, what are you doing and why are you doing it? Sometimes that vision comes from you, sometimes it comes from your top leadership. Whatever it is, you have to understand the what and the why. And when you understand the what and the why, or you define what and the why, you need to communicate that very clearly with an objective and the measurable goal to your teams. And as I said before, make people accountable, but give them the ownership as well. And you'll be surprised to see that when you make that clear communication line of channel between different teams, between different groups, between different departments, and you define the goal, and you have a vision where you have to go to, you'll be surprised how people come up and take that ownership, and they drive the change. So that's actually one of the key things that I've seen. It worked for me a lot. And Second is be transparent with your team. So like there is, if you are clear what you're looking for and being transparent, if they are not delivering at the speed or at the quality, but you are upfront and you are telling them at the right time before it's too late, things work out. Because nobody comes to office to just not do the stuff. People come there to make a change, right? They feel motivation, they feel satisfaction when they are making a change in somebody's life, right? Which in our industry, and that's the true fact, in our industry, whatever we do, we ultimately make somebody's life easier to get to their home. So when you really make that clear, people understand it and they help you to get to where you have to get to. So that's one thing I will say, definitely do that. And second, focus on the value, what you're doing. Not every technology, the shiny object coming your way, is useful. For some it will be, but for you may not be. So look for the right tools that will help you, and look for the right thing that will help you to bring the most for your bucks that you're spending over there. So apply 80-20 rule, apply value of return, whatever you wanna, the metric that you're looking for, apply those metrics and do stuff that will bring the change. That's the meaningful change.
So last question, Deepak, what do you expect from test automation tool companies? What magic do you want them to deliver for you in this journey?
Remove the whole QA process and do everything automated. We should not spend any time, writing the test cases, and everything should be just done for, as the code is being written, write the testing on the side and just do it for us.
So did you mean more sophisticated integration in your DevOps pipeline?
So,
or did you mean something else?
That goes without saying. So you again, when I said in the beginning, right, the whole the vision around how to transform, it was from end to end. So pipeline and integration with DevOps and integration is those tools, they are the must need. They're table stakes. You have to have them. But I'm saying even go further now that you have AI available. Write as many test cases as system needs, and the human just come and should come and just touch it if it need to be shaped up or something. But that's all. Testing should be today. Testing is a not a very pleasant thought in general. Right? People say yes, I can make a change, but it will take double the time of testing. I think these companies can make a difference when the testing is auto fit into the process, and it just system does it versus we do it.
So just to rephrase what I have understood, and correct me if I have understood it correct, you want testing technologies now to be smart enough to understand your domain, understand what needs to be tested, come out with a comprehensive set of test scenarios, maybe even test data, and with little intervention, even automate it. And the job for now humans or your quality engineering team is to monitor that process from accuracy perspective or further training the tool perspective, so that tool does a better job and most efficient job.
Yeah, they should be working as exactly. They should be working to support this automation behind it, like what DevOps does, right? DevOps builds the whole pipeline for you. They build the platform for you, and then they just walk away. And then it's back to dev team to kind of release the whole thing by themselves. So QA should work the same way as well. They should be working like a back office staff. They are supporting the pipeline, but they are not doing the actual work in the front. System is doing the work, like whether it's these tools or whatever it is. Hook it up in the pipeline. It should run automatically. I should be giving that or training the model or training the automation behind the scene one time for the change, and system should just work by itself.
Great.
And I come in when I have to make a tweak, but otherwise system just works, so I can sleep well at night.
Wonderful. I wish you take good rest every day night, Deepak. And thank you so much for talking to us. It was really inspiring. And I hope our viewers would also learn a lot from this conversation. Thank you so much.
It was a good learning for me as well to talk to you.